Okay, so this video may contain minor spoilers, so if you don't already know, by the title, Superman dies. Okay guys, so I'm going to be doing my review on the Death of Superman Blu-ray. Now this Blu-ray was just released yesterday. I know it came out like a week or two ago digitally, but I've been waiting for the Blu-ray because I collect physical media. I don't really do digital media all that much. I much rather wait to get stuff on Blu-ray or 4K. So the movie came out yesterday. I got a chance to watch it, and here in the review, I'm going to be giving away a free digital copy of The Death of Superman. How do you win the free digital copy of Death of Superman? Well, first off, you need to be a subscriber to the channel. So if you haven't already done so, be sure to click that subscribe button. And you also have to go on Twitter and use the hashtag Superman Pick Me Storm, and then tomorrow I'll randomly choose one person and give them the digital code for the Death of Superman. Now, with that all out of the way, let's jump into this movie. This is a movie that I've been very much anticipating since I've seen the trailer, because I am a huge fan of the Death of Superman storyline. It's one storyline in the superhero genre that I constantly go back and reread at least once every couple years because I love that story. It's one of my favorite storylines in all of superhero comics, and it's a storyline that I just find so interesting. So when I found out that they were actually going to be doing another animated feature, I was thrilled, because God knows that Superman Doomsday animated movie that came out years ago, that did not do the storyline justice at all. Like, they killed Superman and brought him back in the same movie, and not only that, none of it really connected anything to the main storyline of that comic book run, and it was really a letdown. So this movie looked like it was going to be a little bit more faithful to the source material, which I liked. Now, there is a lot of stuff I love about this movie, but I want to talk about the problems I had with the movie first, just to get that out of the way so I can end the review on a positive note, because overall I love this movie. I highly recommend this movie to anybody, especially if you're a comic book fan and you like Superman. So the few things I did dislike about this movie was, at first, it felt like we weren't getting that faithful adaptation of the storyline, because I really wanted to see that storyline adapted to the screen, whether it be the small screen, the big screen. I wanted to see that adaptation, and it felt like early on in this movie that we weren't really getting that, and it was starting to upset me a little bit. Another thing that kind of just bothered me at first, but I slowly got used to it as the movie went on, was the costume choice that they decided to put their characters in. A lot of the costumes look like the costumes from the New 52. I like those costumes, but I thought if they were going to do this storyline, they should have went with the more classic costumes that were being used in that time period when that storyline was actually taking place in the comic book, because I want to see those characters in those particular costumes. That way it feels more like that time period. I like the New 52 look, I really do, but I just kind of felt like it felt out of place for me in this movie. And not only that, but the way they made Doomsday look early on in the beginning of this movie just really felt off to me. I liked the way Doomsday was first introduced, where he's wearing that green suit and he has all these tubes on him and he busts out of the ship. I like that look, and they go for a similar look of that in the movie, but it doesn't look exactly like it. More like he's just coming from outer space. He's got like this weird spacesuit on, rather than being like this biological weapon that we first thought he was in the first issues of his comic book when he was introduced. But that was really the only nitpicks I had, was the costume choices, a little bit of the character design, and the fact that I wanted it to stay a little bit closer to the time period in which that storyline was taking place in. But the rest of the movie I just thought was fantastic. One of my favorite things about the movie was the relationship and the development between Lois and Clark. I really dug the fact that Clark was fighting within himself to really let Lois into his life. Like, he had a hard time showing her how he really feels, a hard time letting her in, revealing that he is Superman to her. And I liked the development of those two characters, where at times it felt like they were fading further apart, but by the end of the movie they came closer together. And the real tragedy is when she finally is let into his life and she finally understands who he is and how he feels, that's when he dies. And I think that was really the emotional connection I had with that movie. Like, I thought that was really well done. And of course, the fighting. The one thing I absolutely loved about this movie was they did not, shy away from Doomsday just wrecking shop. Doomsday is unleashed. He is killing people. It's a bloody massacre. He runs through the Justice League like nobody's business, and it's up to Superman at the end, and Superman is fighting for his life, for the people of Metropolis. Like, he is fighting for the Justice League, and he just goes all in. And I love throughout this movie, you see from all these different people, like just your average people on the street, how Superman affected each one of their lives in a certain way. So when he dies at the end, you feel the pain. There's this one fisherman who owns a restaurant, and you really feel for this guy when he finds out that Superman died, because he feels like someone like Superman, who saved so many people, is killed and he dies. Why someone like him is still left on the earth, and he questions why. Why is he still left there when someone as good as Superman died? Like, the movie is very emotional at some points, more emotional than I thought this movie was going to be, and I really respect and I like that. Another part that really got to me was when Martha and Jonathan shows up at Superman's funeral at the end, and Superman has a secret identity. They don't know that that's his mom and dad, and the police say, you can't go that far, and that's their son who's dead there, and they can't go any further because they can't sit there and say, well, that's Clark, that's our son. There's a lot of emotional scenes in the movie, and I really respect that. Other than just sometimes the questionable costume design, and sometimes the art looks a little inky, though the movie is really well done. I think it did a pretty good interpretation of that comic book for a modern time, and I can't wait to see the second part, because the movie ends with a tease to the Reign of Superman. In fact, the trailer for Reigns of Superman has been released, and you can see that trailer now, and I'm really glad that they decided to do this in a two-parter. Because, like I said, that Doomsday Superman movie that came out years ago didn't do it justice. They killed him, brought him back in the same movie, didn't have anything to do with the Reigns of Superman. Now we're going to get to see the Reigns of Superman, which I can't wait to see, where we see Steel, the Eradicator, Cyborg Superman, and Superboy all rise up to take the mantle of Superman. The death of Superman is by far one of my favorite storylines in all of comic books. And to see this finally told the right way, I really appreciate that, and I think this is a fantastic movie. Like, forget animated, it's still a fantastic movie, whether it's live, animated, whatever. It doesn't matter. A good story is a good story, and I highly recommend it. So I enjoyed the movie, but I want to know what you guys think. Have you seen the movie yet? Be sure to leave your comments in the comment box below. Once again, guys, you can use the hashtag to win a free digital copy of Death of Superman. You must be a subscriber. Be sure to leave your comments in the comment box below. Once again, guys, you find my channel for the very first time, be sure to click that subscribe button. And until next time, as always, I'm Robert Storms, and that's my opinion.